Welcome back to the Becoming Number One podcast, where our goal and mission is to help you become the best version of yourself while we are on our own pursuit to become the best versions of ourselves.
Here we are.
Hello, Aidan.
On the pursuit.
On the pursuit. Welcome back, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, I guess.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Wow. I appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, this is how we run things here.
I do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I was thinking about why I was saying the intro?
No, I don't.
When we were coming up with the show, we actually had a couch right here. It was a little futon, if you recall.
Uh-huh.
And we were running the idea of like, hey, would you ever do a podcast? And I think he said, yeah, I'd consider it. And I'm like, I kind of want to do one. So we sat down with this little vlog camera.
Okay, now I do remember that.
Which I still have this video. I still have it. Saved it to this day. We're sitting right here. And we were just doing a little test run to see how it was. We were sitting next to each other, just like this.
To make sure we didn't sound like complete bozos talking into the camera.
No microphones.
Maybe we do, but...
Yeah, no microphones. We didn't have any microphones. We were just talking to the camera.
Yeah. That's got to sound pretty god-awful.
Yeah, it didn't sound great at all. And now, look, we got 2 chairs and 2 microphones.
2 chairs, 2 microphones,
and 2 cameras. Look at that.
Look at that upgrade.
Fucking progression.
That is pretty good, actually.
Yeah. We had 1 camera, which we didn't really record many videos.
No, because I guess it's not that difficult to do with a camera, but you're limited to 1 shot.
Yep.
And trust me, all the editing software in the world
We didn't make that look pretty.
ain't gonna make as big of a jump as just having 2 cameras, 2 angles.
Absolutely.
At least not that I can figure out.
Now I understand why, like, these big podcasts where they have like 6 cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense now. What I don't understand is how they sync it all. But that's where you come into play.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I know, kind of like with a lot of things, I know enough about editing now to know that, holy shit, editing is like a whole field in and of its own. Like, there's a good reason why there are people who it is their profession to edit content.
Yep.
Because you can get in the weeds. You can do some cool shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I
can't.
was thinking about is how we were going to come up with the intro. You sent me a IG DM, I remember, an Instagram DM. You're like, hey, it should go something like this. And then I remember, I think we didn't do it on the first episode. We did it on the second episode, is where the intro came in. And it was something where I just spit off. And now we've rocked with that.
Well, I'm glad you remember all this because I have just about zero recollection of
this. Absolutely do. But a quick word from our sponsors, guys. Today is sponsored by Celsius, Cherry Cola to be exact. Just kidding, it's not. We don't have sponsors.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
We'll just sponsor our own shit. How about that?
That works too.
Yeah. But we don't want to sit here and throw a whole bunch of garbage down these people's throats, their ears.
What are you talking about?
That they're not even going to use in the first place with a little discount code so we can make money. That's garbage.
Yeah, that is a big thing that I think both of us can get on the same page about is there's a lot of people who will just affiliate market, affiliate code anything and everything they can to try to make a buck. But at the end of the day, we want to try to live by the philosophy of anything that we push onto somebody else is going to be something that either A, we use ourselves, or B, we stand by so heartedly, which if we stood by it, we'd probably use it ourselves anyway. So that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So if we ever tell you to use something that we don't use, look at us and say, what the fuck are you doing?
Leave us a 1-star review.
Yeah.
If that's the case. But what have you been using lately? Any
Crack.
Injections?
Of course. This is your favorite subject. Trying to get me to admit to steroid or hormone usage.
Do you?
Do I?
Yeah. But I mean, you wouldn't admit it.
I guess we'll never know.
I mean, you wouldn't admit it on camera.
I don't know. Maybe one day.
Just kidding, guys. Aidan doesn't take steroids.
Maybe one day I would.
Takes CRT.
But that's the same thing. But regardless, David wanted to turn on the cameras rather abruptly in the middle of our conversation because it's safe to say we're in a period of small change right now.
Yeah.
But of course, we still wanted to come on here and record something and hopefully provide some value to you. But we didn't have anything planned necessarily.
Nope.
And I told him that this morning in particular, pretty much on the entirety of my drive over to the office, I was consumed by thinking about clarity. I was listening to a podcast and it actually got brought up in a way, and it just reinforced like, okay, I think I'm thinking about the right thing at the right time for me. So figured we'd talk about it and share our thoughts, our experience with it, and kind of how we're looking at it right now. But just the importance of clarity. And I think I like to construct frameworks and almost like equations or formulas in my mind, like the formula of how to get fit, or the formula of how to make money, or the formula of how to do X, Y, and Z. And I think the goal of just about all of us is to live a happy, but more so fulfilling life. And what does that look like? I mean, how do you put a formula to something that's so different for so many different people? And it's something that I thought about it's something I think about all the time, and it's probably something that's going to take me a long time to piece together. But what I will say is I think that the first component to that formula, the first step to figuring out the answer to that question is clarity.
Yeah. I looked up clarity definition because let's get clear on what clarity is. And there's two here, which I think they line up pretty well together. But the first one is the quality of being coherent and intelligible. Okay, that's the first one. Okay. Quality of being coherent and intelligible. The second one is the quality of transparency or purity. So what we're going to talk about today, and a lot of it's just coming off the dome like a lot of our episodes are. We're just telling you what we think and what's on our mind. I want you to listen to the conversation with the perspective of the definitions that I just gave you. Because that's ultimately what we're going to tell you guys, is ultimately what the clarity is and how it can benefit your life. So continue of where you were going. But I think that was very important to know the actual definition of it. Well, so when we dive into it.
I think there's one word that you said that stood out, and that was pure. Because when I think of clarity, it's getting, like, in super simple talk, it's getting crystal clear on whatever.
Yep.
And to me, I can equate that to pure. Pure is like, it's as raw as crystal as you can get with something. So I think that's what we need to focus on. And I think that this clarity is something that will solve a lot of problems in a lot of different areas. I think that clarity is the first component to answering the question of how do I live a happy, fulfilling life? I think it's also the question of how do I make a lot of money? How do I get super fit? How do I have a great relationship? How do I find the right partner? All of these start, or at least in some way, shape, or form, involve clarity. And I was thinking about this, that for me, what a happier, fulfilling life looks like for me versus what that looks like for David, it's going to be different. And therefore, David's path to achieve that is going to be different from mine. It's going to be different from yours. It's going to be different from, your brother, your sister, your friend, your aunt. Everybody's definition, everybody's goal is different, and therefore their path is going to be different. But a lot of us, we lose sight of that, and we start trying to follow in the exact paths of other. Oh, I see this person online making $10,000 a month doing this. Okay, I'm going to do that. I have to do that. It's the only way I'm going to get there. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If he wants something different and he's doing something different, maybe it completely aligns with what he wants, maybe it doesn't. Why does that mean that you should do it?
Yeah.
It doesn't. Now, I think the caveat to that is you can look at other people who might have achieved something that actually fits into what you want and say, okay, they got what I wanted by doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, I know that I should probably be doing X, Y, and Z on top of some other stuff. That works.
Yeah.
But you might not have to do all that shit. You might not have to go through the struggles that I have to, or that David has to.
Yep.
You might not have to. You might also have to do a lot more than what we do. So you're not going to know that unless you get clear, unless you really sit down and say, okay, Aidan, okay, David, what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want out of business? What do you want out of, your health?
Absolutely. When you have clarity, you make faster decisions, which ultimately are going to benefit you. But when you're clear on something, the choice is usually obvious. right? And then the second one to that is, you waste less time, because instead of you saying yes to everything, you're very clear on where the end result is and what you want. Where, hey, you can say no to this, you can say no to that, you can say no to this because it doesn't serve you and getting to where you want to go. And that comes with clarity. You have to have the clarity to be able to do that.
That is a great point. And that's actually something that's very applicable to me. And I was telling David right before this, I'm not even 110% clear on everything I want in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's not a right or a wrong thing. It's just, it's how it is. Thing. I'm not 100% clear. And therefore, like, I am not peak efficient. I am not all the way there because I waste time saying yes to things I should say no to, or maybe even saying no to things that I should be saying yes to, because I don't have that picture 100% dialed in.
Yep.
And I think what you just said, I have seen myself do it. I see a lot of people do that. Because if they knew exactly what they wanted and they were able to work backwards how to get that, they'd only be saying yes to the things that aligned with that.
Correct. But here's the thing to that. You can't have the clarity if you don't know what you want. You have to know what you want first before you can get the clarity.
Well, I think those go hand in hand. I think
Well, they do, but I can know what I want, right? Or I can't have clarity on the end result if I don't know what I want. I can know what I want and still not be clear on exactly what it is that I want to do.
Interesting. So let me ask you this, because I almost, I think you and I might see this slightly differently, but I want to pinpoint how exactly that is. Because I almost see clarity as the tool, the looking glass to truly know what you want. And if I hear you correctly, I think you see them as actually two distinctly different things.
Well, when I think of clarity, it goes down to the exact spec of everything that I want.
Okay. Now,
not just, hey, well, because I can know what I want. Like, hey, I want a Lamborghini and I want, to live in this house and I prefer it to be in Florida and all these things. But like, what exactly? What color is the Lamborghini? What color is the house? How many bedrooms is it? How many bathrooms does it have? What's the square footage? Does it have a pool in the backyard? Does it not have a pool in the backyard? Right? Like, I know what I want, but I'm not 100%. Like, it's not, there's the clarity. It's not exactly pure yet.
Interesting. So the clarity is the detail.
Correct.
It's the specificity.
Correct. And you have to have the detail. You have to. Because when you have the detail, you know absolutely everything that you're working for.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense. Anybody who has been in any sort of operations role, and that can be a whole lot of fucking things, you can agree with this. When you have, let's say, a script, for example, if you have a script that has every single word that you would say in its entirety, no room for error, nothing else, nothing less, nothing more, you say exactly what's on the script, you don't have to think. You just do. It's as fast as you can get. But if there's any variance to that, if there's maybe a little less, or maybe if there's a room for interpretation, or maybe if there's this or this or this, now it's not specifically clear. It's not pure. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you're going to be a little slower because you're going to think, okay, well, what happens if this? Or what should I say in here? Or should I change this up? Should I do this? Whatever. So I completely agree with the correlation between clarity, specificity, pureness, and speed. I think I just still see the two together. I feel like clarity, at least for me, almost allows me to truly figure out what it is I want. It's almost like it's a tool, or it's the thing that allows me to like actually get to the root of my wants and my desires.
Sure. Yeah. And it's just a perspective that I have on it. Yeah. So not that you're wrong or I'm right or I'm wrong and you're right. It's correct. That is just the perspective that I have on clarity itself. Because I feel like everybody knows what they want. You know, like people know, like, oh, well, I want a 6-pack, or, oh, I want X, Y, and Z. Like, they have this imagination of things that they want. And it could be through daydream. It could be through whatever. But the clarity on that is not exactly there.
I agree, but I'm going to push one level deeper. I think a lot of people think they know what they want, because I think that there's always a layer deeper. Like when somebody says they want a 6-pack, okay, is it actually that you want to be able to see your abs, or is it that you want people to admire your body? Is it that you want to be able to admire your body? Is it the 6-pack itself, or is it something deeper?
Correct.
Same with, do you want the Lamborghini, or do you want people to look at you and be like, damn, that guy's successful?
All right, we're going to go deep on
For
this.
some people, it's no, I actually want a Lamborghini because I love cars.
Yep.
I'm an enthusiast. I want to drive the shit out of it. And other people, it's like, no, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. It's what the vehicle gets me.
Here's the difference between knowing what you want and having the clarity of it. Knowing what you want is not going to give you the feeling that clarity would have. So when you have the clarity, you can get the feeling of what it's like to be in that place. But when you just know what you want, right? Because there's two different levels for me, and this is, I'm explaining how my mind's thinking about this. The clarity, you can feel it, you can taste it, you can smell it.
Okay.
When you got it down to the very spec. The just knowing what I want, right? I want the Lamborghini. Well, I don't have that feeling. I can't see it, smell it, touch it, right? When I have the clarity, that's when I can do that. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two.
Well, I want to dive into this because I think you and I are aligned, but not 100% on the same page, which is good when it comes to clarity. Whether you have it in every aspect of your life or not, I'm sure that you've seen and experienced clarity at some point. What for somebody who's kind of lost or hasn't yet found clarity, maybe it's at all or in all aspects of life, how do you find clarity?
Yeah.
What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do you know, okay, I'm clear on this?
Okay. Well, first is I have to figure out what I want.
Okay.
Okay. Then what I want is going to produce a result. And then what does that result look like? Literally for everything. If it's a car, what color is it? What color is the steering wheel? What colors is it? Leather? Is it cloth? What is it? Headlights? Like literally absolutely every single spec on it. Okay. So I know what I want. I want the Lamborghini, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think of all those things that I just mentioned.
Okay.
Okay. And then once I have that, now I can feel it. I can smell it. So when I close my eyes and I think about it, I'm pulling myself closer and closer to it. But then you got to back it up with the work.
Okay.
Right? Because when you can have the clarity and you can do the work, it's meeting.
Well, and that I agree with you with is thinking about the formula that gets
but
you
how do you find it? How do you find it? So for the person out there that might just work a 9 to 5, that maybe they haven't had huge aspirations in their life and they finally decide they want to change. You might have to try a few things first. Because if the end result is just to make a whole bunch of money, right? You want to make $1 million. Well, you don't know exactly which vehicle you're going to make $1 million with, right? Before you try a few. You could try one. No, this isn't it. It's not where, like, my heart's not in it. Then you might try something else. Okay. Hey, I like this. I feel good about this. This could work. Okay. What is it that I have to do to get that $1 million? Okay. Well, this is the exact plan. Okay. Once I get the $1 million, what's it going to look like? How am I going to feel? What am I going to do with it? What's the first thing I'm going to buy? Right? Can I see it in my bank? So I think at the beginning, you might have to try a few things. If it's a financial thing that you're going to want to do, if it's a weight journey, it could come from pain of I don't want to feel this way anymore. So the way that you feel now, you just look at the opposite side of it. Okay. So I feel pain now. What does joy feel like? And then you kind of reverse engineer it from there. But I feel like for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different depending on what you want.
For sure. Well, you said something that to me ties into how I've found clarity. And what it is attaching emotion. You talked about sometimes it's rooting in pain. So think about the flip side, what joy looks like. For me, clarity obviously does come down to specificity. But I think that digging deeper, the deepest you're going to get is the the emotional tie to the object, the materialistic thing, whatever it is. Getting to emotion is as pure, as raw as you can get. Because everything we do, everything we have, makes us feel a certain type of way. And I think that if you can, because we will both agree that clarity is nothing without action.
Correct.
And action is not pointless, but action is wasted without clarity.
Correct.
Right? So if you want to achieve anything, right, especially if our mission is to become the best versions of ourselves, we need both.
Absolutely.
And for me, at least, getting super specific on what it is I want, getting down to the minute detail. But as I get down to that minute detail, I'm looking for emotion. I'm looking for something that's rooted past money, past materialism, all of it. Because that, for me, drives my action.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is the discipline when motivation isn't there. So, for everybody listening, you need both.
Absolutely.
You know, we've talked about it before. We've talked about the importance of action so many times. And we're always gonna say it, because I truly do believe that action cures all.
Correct.
Action above all. You're not gonna get anything without fucking doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So the part that you might be missing, if you feel like you've been putting in work, if you feel like you've been trudging along, but you haven't really been getting anywhere that feels deep, that feels meaningful to you, that doesn't hit at the root of what you actually want in life, it's because you're missing clarity. It's because you haven't sat down and thought, what do I want? And then thought backwards, okay, not even backwards, yeah, but what is it that I really want? Down to the detail, the color of the trim, the specific headlights, what the dashboard looks like. If you haven't thought of all of that, and if you haven't tied emotion to it, if you haven't done all these things, then your action's going to be wayward. It's going to be pointless. So
correct. Yeah, it's kind of like if you get in a car without a GPS and you try to drive across the country to California, well, you're probably not going to get there as fast as you could, because you don't have a clear direction of where you're going, right? And with the clarity, it also gives you the confidence to do the things, because you're clear on the mission. You feel inside like, hey, all these other things that are getting thrown at me, I'm saying no to them because I know this is where I'm trying to go. This is the end result. This is the work that I'm putting in. It's for a reason, and I'm on the right path. That gives you confidence. That gives you so much confidence. Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits from clarity. Like a lot.
I think there's all the benefits from clarity.
Correct.
It's a fucking must-have.
Yeah, and it's outside of the material thing that you're eventually going to get.
Yeah.
It's hey, you're not going to waste as much time. You're going to have better opportunities that come across your desk because you are clear on exactly where you want to go. You're going to say no to all the things that don't serve you, right? You're going to have the confidence. You're going to have all of these things that are very important to your guys' success when it comes down to building the life of your dreams.
I agree. So hopefully if there's one thing that I would like you guys to take away from this, is if you haven't found it already, and I'd challenge you if you said you did, really take some time. This isn't something that just happens. You don't just sit back for 5 minutes and think, oh, yep, okay, cool, I'm clear on everything. No, this is something that takes some time. And sometimes it takes
daily.
Sometimes it takes, and this is something that you might not even actually get for a long time, because you're going to have to reflect on it daily. And you might have to experience some things. I think that's a great point, is you might have to go out there and do some shit so that you can have clarity. But point being, find clarity. Spend time trying to find clarity. Because the second you do, and this might be in just one area of your life for now, the second you find clarity, it's like the fucking lights are going to turn on, and all of a sudden you're going to be on the mission.
Yep.
You're ready to go.
And you got a deeper meaning to exactly what you're doing. And that is so important. So important.
It is. So, guys, we appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
We hope that you can find clarity. We hope that you seek clarity, because your life is only going to get better as a result of it. So,
should we shout a few people out?
I mean, go for it. I don't know who you're thinking about thanking, but...
Nobody.
I'm
just kidding. Shout out to all you guys that watch us and actually do something from what we say. Because that, for me and him, it means the world. We've said it many times, but as long as we can help one person, we did our job.
That is probably the best way for anyone listening to give back, is to just go out and to implement this shit and become a better person.
Yep.
Because, I mean, change is going to happen at the minute level, but really true change happens on the macro level.
100%.
And that's going to require a bunch of people getting on the fucking becoming number one train.
Yep.
and just trying to live a better life.
Absolutely. And the world's such a fucking crazy place right now. Like, personal development is needed more than ever right now, than I think in history of time. People are slacking off. These phones are so addicting. There's drugs. There's everything that is keeping you distracted from living the life of your dreams.
And it's only going to get worse.
And it's only going to get worse day by day. Day by day. We had a conversation with a school teacher this morning, and he's been teaching for 15 years. And he's noticed that attention spans have went down to the fucking drain. Because of these phones right here, our attention spans, they're being trained every single day to get shorter and shorter. Like, think of this before. I'm 24 years old. When I was a kid, we had to watch the TV, cartoons on the TV if we wanted our dopamine fix, right? And that was 20, 30 minutes. Now, like, kids are literally going on their phone and they're just swiping up and down, up and down, up and down.
Every
for
couple
5
seconds.
Yeah,
something
for 5
new.
second videos. So the brain's getting fucked. So my point of saying that is clarity right now is so important. So you can get that distraction out of your way. But also just to become a well-rounded individual. There's the wars going on. There's all this shit. Now is the perfect opportunity for you to get ahead while everybody else is distracted. And it starts with clarity. It starts with getting clear on exactly what you want to do with your life. Because once you figure that out and you tie it in with action, you are on the success trend.
You're going to be unstoppable.
100%.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Let's have a great week.